Hey everybody, this is Ryan for Gardener Outdoors. Today I'm going to show you guys the process of tanning hides. So a bunch of buddies of mine, back in December, we went on a snowshoe hare and partridge hunting trip up in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. The partridge part of it was pretty disappointing. I saw another group of guys that left earlier than us saw another one on the way back to the car, but we did see a plethora of snowshoe hare. We took 5 during this trip, which was awesome. We shot it a lot more. Um, it was a blast. I like hare hunting down here in southern New Hampshire. I'm about, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes from the Massachusetts border. I grew up in central New Hampshire, southern and central New Hampshire, just a little south and west of Concord, New Hampshire. Um, you'd see a couple. I've shot a few over the years, going out, spending I don't know how many hours. But when we got up in Pittsburgh, I cut tracks and boom, we were on hare. It was a blast. I saved the hides, wanting to not waste. That is one of my biggest things when it comes to animals. I try to mitigate any waste that I have. Um, I butcher my own. I notice I get higher yields when I butcher my own animals. So as we go along here over the next however long, if I shoot a turkey in the spring, I will show you guys how to process a turkey, how to collect feathers for things like fly tying or decoration. One of my lovely fiance's friends made us this beautiful dream catcher out of feathers from a tom I shot 2 years ago. So again, I'm all about using as much of the animal as I can. Ooh. And not wasting anything at all. Hence why I kept the hare hides. I'd like to make maybe a set of gloves or a hat or something, but first step of that is you gotta salt them. So after skinning the animal out, you will obviously salt the skin side, allow it to dry. They'll get very hard. As you can see, this one is pretty rigid. You just give them a real good liberal coat of salt, let it sit for a day or two. Anywhere that's still wet, go back in, hit it again with a little bit more salt. Eventually they'll dry out. It'll be good. Like I said, these have been salted since December, like before Christmas, early December, mid-December. I think it might have been 2 weeks before Christmas. So they're plenty dry now. I just haven't I haven't had the time or gotten around to it. A good buddy of mine, Glenn, who's done this before. This is actually my first go along with this, so I'm going off his instructions. His instructions are 2 gallons of warm water, 2 cups of kosher salt, and 1 cup of alum powder. It's a very, very coarse, crystalline, almost salt-like material. But add that in. You want to get it stirred up. I'm just going to grab something to stir. That'll work. Give it a good stir. You want it all to dissolve. You don't want any particulate salt or alum powder sitting at the bottom, because it won't be as effective as cleaning up the hide and getting it all tanned. So my understanding of the process is you let these soak for about 2 days. Any more than 2 days, you'll start to lose the hair. I don't know if you could get away with a 1-day soak. We very may well just check that out tomorrow. The idea is I think the soak will allow you to pull some of the fat and other like tallowy tissue off from the skin. Makes a very cloudy liquid, but we'll see how she goes. So I'm gonna now start taking some of the hides. As you can tell, this one is very crinkly. Send it on in there. It does not want to sink. On to the next one. Like I said, we have 5 of these. Glenn himself, in October, I believe it was October. Yeah, it was while I was in Virginia, I believe. Um, we do a lot of partridge and small game. Just before deer season, we do waterfowl, we do early geese, we do regular season geese. We do all that stuff. We have a lot of fun out in the woods here. Um, but he got one down the street from where my folks live in a spot we've hunted partridge and whatnot. Um, I've kind of seen them in the area. I hit one with my car years ago over there, and I always thought, oh, it'd be a great idea to get in there when there's fresh snow, like today, and go hunt for them. But I also kept some of the feet. I'm going to wrap them with a little bit of leather and give some of the buddies that went on that hunting trip a lucky rabbit foot or two. But yeah, you want to let these seep for about 2 days. Once we get to that point, when Glenn comes up and we start working on these, I'll add some more footage. But as of right now, this is where it's at for the Hey everybody, this is Ryan for Gardner Outdoors. Today we are working on our hare hides. This is my buddy Glenn. We're going to walk you through the process of how to do one. We already got 4 hanging up drying. We wanted to work out some kinks before I started filming. But Glenn's going to run you through the process of going from the slurry that I put them in to getting them to hang up, and then the principle behind it all.
Yeah, so let's talk about the slurry. So first of all, it's a 2-to-1 ratio, and again, this is just all that I've read on the internet, so I don't know if this could be right or wrong. So it was 2 units of salt to 1 unit of alum powder, which is like a baking ingredient. And in 2 gallons of water, I did about 2 cups of salt and then 1 cup of alum. And you kind of just want to mix it up, make sure it's all dissolved, and then you let it sit for 2 days. And really just the concept is you want to get some of that slurry into the hides itself. So then, you know, obviously 2 days later, you got to start the process. So really what you want to do is you just kind of want to get as much water out as possible. So it's kind of juicy, as you can see. Kind of just squeezing it out in here. And again, what we're going to be doing is kind of just beating the crap out of them as they're drying over time. So the more water you can get out earlier, the faster this whole process will go. Because if you don't beat the crap out of them while they're drying, then they'll kind of freeze back up again. We want them to be nice and soft. Alright. So something that I found that works pretty well, at least when you have like a nice hide that's all in one piece, is you can kind of just wring them out. I'm kind of just spinning it. There we go. That's a lot of that water. So the good thing when you keep them in one piece when you're pulling them out is it feels like this process of kind of wringing them out works a little bit better. We've actually run into some problems where some of the hides were tearing on us. I think it's because they are kind of weaker. But so now generally speaking you have it pretty dry, but you can see it's kind of all bunched up and sort of long. What I found that works pretty well is just trying to stretch it out wide again. So you have your fibers, right, and as they're drying they kind of pull back together and you're just kind of trying to keep them spread apart. So you can actually see when you pull it, they'll actually turn white. So this should work right here. There you go. Yeah, that's a good one. Get it right in here. You can see the fibers pulling apart a little bit. And now really it's just doing this for the next, you know, probably 10 minutes on this one. I'll let it dry for another 30 minutes and then go back at it. Kind of stretching it up and down, just trying to pull the fibers apart. You can actually, so you can see these right here are just some of the flesh that was left on. That's actually fine, because during this time you can actually just kind of peel it right off. Makes it nice and easy. So I've done this with squirrel, and it's been a lot easier to do because you don't have to worry too much about breaking the hide. With these rabbits, they're definitely a lot more delicate, so you have to go easy on them. Especially you can see like where the pellets actually went through. You got to be very careful around those so you don't start tearing it. But what you'll start to feel is like you'll feel areas that are nice and soft and then areas that are tougher. So like this area is a lot tougher, so I'm going to focus more attention on this area for a little bit. Just trying to stretch it every single which way. There you go. See that getting nice and white.
And that dark stuff around it is all just connective tissue, tallowy fat, or meat, right?
Yeah, or even just dried blood on the fat. That will make it look weird. This area over here definitely needs some work. It's nice and hard. So you can see some of the hairs pulling out, but that's definitely going to happen. That's just something you'll have to deal with, but not a lot comes out. It's nothing to really freak out about.
So once we get to that point, you end up bringing them up and hanging them up. This is the kind of little setup we got going on to dry. We get them over some cardboard on my kitchen table. But as you can see, these were shot in December when they were white. They got pretty nice color. The undercoat is actually really dark on some of them. Actually, all of them.
Yeah, they all have like a gray near the base and then like a brown and then it goes to white.
So these set up to dry. This was the first one we did that I did not skin whole. I kind of really got figuring out how to properly skin them after the first one. I tried taking one leg, skinning out the one leg, working the membrane, and then sliding the whole animal out, flipping it inside out. It keeps the pelt a lot nicer, prevents a lot of blood getting on the fur, which is what you don't want because that's a pain in the rear to get out later and a lot more work. And they salted better. They were easy to take care of. They didn't stink as bad. That is one part about this process. It definitely has a particular odor that rabbits have. If you've ever had rabbits or have ever shot rabbits, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, but yeah. So these hang up for what, Glenn? About a half hour till they dry?
Yeah, so you're going to rotate through them. So we're going to do work one for 10 minutes, let it dry for another, however long it takes to get back through the rotation, let it dry, work it, let it dry. It'll probably take 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours for all of them to be nice and dry and nice and soft.
Excellent. You're just finishing working up that one. We will check back in when we start cycling back through. Just about there. They're starting to look really nice. Glenn's doing a really good job. I kind of epically messed one up. Split it right down the back when the back's like the best part.
It's all right. They grow back.
There's always more growing out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's feeling pretty nice. We're kind of doing the final dry on some of them. And then we'll give them one last beating, and then they'll be done. This one was the educational. These are coming out so far. Definitely a huge learning experience. These are really thin hides, so it's really easy to tear them. So I'm hoping, we just got a ton of snow. We're getting a ton more snow. I might be heading out on a coyote hunt, which I will probably film. Hopefully I'll get my GoPro in by then, so it'll be a little easier to film. But yeah. I will have a video of how to clean and prepare perch fillets. We brought 6 home last night, and I'll have footage up from the fishing trip we did yesterday out in Hancock, New Hampshire. But yeah, we'll check back in with you guys when these are all done and let you know what they look like. Hey everybody, here to do a recap on how our hair tanning project went, and here's one of the final products. I mean, look at that beautiful coat. And this is what I was talking about. It looks nice and white, but as you lift the top layer up, you start to see a lot of darker colors. It's all like, let's see if I can get a close up. There's a lot of brown in it, just below the white. Like there's probably like a ½ inch of white on the top, and then there's some brown. And there's real dark, almost like gray at the bottom. Yeah, they came out really nice. The last clip you saw was just about when we were I guess, finished for the day. I had to get Glenn to the train station. It started snowing. We had quite a bit of snow on Sunday. But, yeah, that's how the fur looks. I'm surprised it held so well. I'm pretty happy about that. I'll show you guys what the inside of the hide looks like here in a second. Here we go. Yeah, so it came out pretty good. I definitely, after they kind of finally dried out, I definitely had to crinkle them a little bit. There's still a few spots that are rough, but for these being our first hides, I can't complain. They came out so much better than I thought they were. We get that one that I split up the back. Newbie error, and I didn't realize how thin these were. These really feel like paper, like the belly on this right here feels very like paper thin. The back here actually feels like some soft leather, which is really cool. But yeah, so I want to apologize to you folks about the quality of this video. I've been using my Samsung Note 5 to do all my recording. I do have a GoPro on the way, so that should help with some of my recording mishaps. I'm also trying to figure out better ways to like pre-plan the layout of the video, so that way they make a little bit more sense. I was doing some editing last night and I was like, oh, this is so painful. I just really didn't do too much thought into the layout. I just started filming. That's what I used to do on Facebook Live. I will take any and all suggestions you folks have, like when it comes to like content, like if you want to see like the breakdown from beginning to end, which is kind of what I tried, but I could definitely break it down into steps. Like I could do a total overview and then break down the steps, and then at the end a recap, like kind of like what I'm doing right now. But please share any suggestions you guys might have. I'm sorry, I have a brain fart. So thank you very much for watching. If you very well could, please like, comment, share, and subscribe and help the channel grow. Thanks for watching, everybody.